What's good, folks? It's your boy Blackie D. I'm back, and you're doing a ride along with your boy. And so I was on our social media, as I used to say, social media. Anyway, and I saw a clip with Shannon Sharp, and he was interviewing Cedric the Entertainer. And the clip, somebody brought it down, and they brought back the little beef with him and Cat Williams about who stole, like Cat said stole this joke, and I actually got to sit down a little bit. I didn't get to watch the whole interview, but I watched a good bit. The interview was like an hour and 8 minutes on YouTube. And so Shannon Sharp has his own little thing where he interviews people or whatever, I guess. But then I started thinking, like, man, like, he brought it back up. I mean, that little issue happened like a year ago. And it was weird to me then, like, man, like, I Cat trying to beef with somebody else, Not really a big Cat Williams fan. Nothing against him. I do listen to his material, like, on, I don't know, Pandora and all other stuff like that. I'm not, like, a big fan of his, but some of his material does make me laugh. I do like Cedric the Entertainer. I've grown up watching his, shows or, his comedy and stuff like that too. So it's like, I'm kind of biased in this whole thing when it comes to, like beef and stuff like that. But Shannon did ask in the interview, he was like, what's up with you comedians and all this beef? He's like, 'cause we never really knew comedians to have beef. And it's true, like, honestly, and you really didn't hear it, because I think the first time I ever heard of like a comedian having beef was like Eddie Murphy said that he got into it with, he said Bill Cosby called him and he didn't like some of the material he used in his act. And he was mad, but then it turned out like Richard Pryor and Bill Cosby didn't get along, stuff like that. It was like, wow. Now, this is before my time, but just hearing stories about it, that was like the first time I ever heard of comedians not getting along. Then you come in later on, you have like the Cat Williams versus Steve Harvey, which really turned out to not be like a versus, but Cat Williams turned it into a versus. Well, I'm sure Steve Harvey kind of boosted it up. I'm not a Steve Harvey fan either. Kind of grew up listening to his material, not a big fan of his either. But it was like different beefs. Then Shannon Sharp brought up the Monique and D.L. Hughley, which I found was weird. But a lot of these, like, people that you see are beefing or whatever, I think it's more about being relevant. And, like, I'll say for Cat Williams, even though I'm not a fan of his, I think he does that stuff to stay relevant. It's like try to shake up the comedy world a little bit, even though you kind of look at comedians, they shouldn't. In my perspective, I don't think it should be beef or whatever, but like he stayed into it with, Kevin Hart behind his beliefs and, how comedy should be. I think it's kind of bogus when, when you do tear each other down. There's something wrong with a nice little challenge every now and then, but just continuing to, tear each other down is different. I think each comedian is different. Each one has a style. I don't really care for Cat stuff because it doesn't resonate with me. That does not mean he's not a good comedian. It just doesn't sit with me well. I would take Ced over Cat any day of the week, or Kevin Hart over Cat any day of the week, because to me it's a little more easy to digest. I can't really, resonate with the other stuff. The other people who I do listen to is like, wow. Corey Holcomb he's funny a little bit. I like Dion Cole, stuff like that. It's pretty funny. They're a little edgy, but it's like, okay, whatever. But just, like the whole thing, like who stole this and all of that, man. I'm like, that's just weird, because so many different comedians I've heard many comedians like do the same joke. I'm a big Paul Mooney fan. I listened to Paul Mooney, and I remember he did a Lorena Bobbitt joke. But then I also heard Martin Lawrence, which I like his comedy as well. I heard him kind of do the same joke that Paul Mooney did. Now, who did it first, I don't know. But I feel like a lot of times these guys, they kind of sit around and they work around each other. So you might hit a joke and you may try to put your own spin on it, or hell, I mean, those two did it. Then Charlie Murphy, rest in peace. I like his comedy as well, but he did a joke about the Rain Bible. Now his stuff didn't sound like Paul Mooney's or Martin Lawrence's, but he had a joke about it. So it's like it's kind of hard to say if something was stolen verbatim, and then like getting into the comments with people, that's the hard thing, especially when you biased about it too, because man, comments will make you not like a bunch of people, or because I feel like a lot of people do support Cat Williams, but I think they just support him. I don't know. It's more of a weird vibe. Like it's like, oh well, we support Cat no matter what. Cat can like burn down a building, and we gonna support him even if he's in this wrong. We gonna support him over other people. And I'm like, man, that man ain't always right about everything that he does. Like I mean, and I think a lot of times he knows it too. But it's kind of like you got the support of the people, so it's like, whatever, I'm getting away with it, or I'm going to do what I want to do, or I'm going to say what I want to say, and I'm going to have supporters. And it's like, that's cool, but everything ain't always right. So, I don't know. I don't really think that Cedric the Entertainer stole a joke. They may have both done a joke that was similar, but like said, like, when he dropped that joke in Kings of Comedy, and I think he probably did before then too, because I remember seeing Cedric the Entertainer on Comic View and Def Comedy Jam, and he may have kind of done something like that, or a little bit to that, But on Kings of Comedy is when I remember seeing it, and I never even heard of Cat Williams before then, And he may have been out because people say he's been like doing comedy way before then, but it's like, I mean, if he ain't mainstreaming nowhere, man, and he put it out there, it's kind of really hard to say if he took it or not. Then, like said as well, it's like, bro, we've been around each other this whole time. For like, that joke been out for almost 30 years, and you just now dropping it. You know what I'm saying? I think Cat is really just trying to come for anybody, especially if you put yourself on a pedestal saying that I'm at this level, you know what I'm saying, and then there's competition. I think that's what it's really about for him, because he felt like I need to take down Steve Harvey. I was like, you really didn't have to do that, but he felt the need to be like, I'm going to prove myself better than Steve Harvey. And I mean, this man talked about every comedian out here. Most of them, he talk about the ones who wear dresses and all that other stuff, which, I mean, I feel him on that, but at the same time, it's kind of hard to really be mad at these guys for doing it, because we chucked them. I know I laughed like with Jamie Foxx. He dressed up as, a female, laughed about that. Martin Lawrence dressed up as a female, laughed about that. Eddie Murphy dressed up as the whole damn family. We all laughed about it. Tyler Perry, as Madea, when Madea first came out, I ain't gonna lie, laughed about it, and after a while, it's like, how much more damn Madea, Madea gonna go to the moon? Like, I mean, after a while, it's like, okay, enough is enough, but I'm like, you can't really knock these guys for, what they do for their business. And I mean, once it becomes like freakish cult stuff, okay, yeah, I get you for knocking them for that, but they feel like they gotta put on a dress. I don't agree with it 100%, but I'm not gonna knock them for it. Now, if you're doing it all the time, then yeah, it's a problem. Because I say it for guys on social media now, you see more guys with wigs on and makeup on, and it's weird. So I don't know, but that's just my thoughts on the whole, beefing or who's stealing this and that, like with comedians and stuff. I don't know, it's weird. So, if you have anything to comment on it, man, leave it down in the comments, or thumbs up, thumbs down. Holler back at your boy. I do respond to comments and stuff. That's all I got on it right now. Peace.